Good morning, friends. Good morning, audience. Today is a reminder or reiteration. I'm going to reiterate and some points I made about Trump and company, right? So it's going to be the same song but different tune, right? You know, the same lyrics but different tune. Uh, things that he's going to do. First of all, the one-day dictatorship is equal to draining the swamp. He said he was going to drain the swamp. He started on that process, but he couldn't just go about firing people at will because there would be some kind of uprising against him in the government, even on local level, right? Before he did on January 6th, if he was able to nullify January 6th was about nullifying the election process, wasn't about keeping him in office. Remember that. It was about nullifying the election process. And then thereafter, suspending the constitution. Thereafter, dictatorship would set in. And slowly but surely, this nation will succumb, will basically begin to be destroyed slowly but surely. So remember, draining the swamp is equal to the one-day dictatorship. So he was going to do a few things if he goes into office again. Uh, first and foremost, he will try or he's going to or will try to give Taiwan to China. Two, he's going to do away with Ukraine altogether and deliver it to Putin, no matter what, right? Three, he's going to attack the Syrian people or the refugees and then bring Iran to further rule the area. And so on and so on. But two very big important points is cryptocurrency is attached to him, is part of his agenda. It's part of the agenda of the machine that brought him into the spotlight and then chose him to be their next dictator like Lenin and Stalin and so on and so forth. It's that, if you want to name it communism, be my guest, but it's something similar to Lenin and Stalin and gulags and so on and so forth. And last but not least, and that in itself is a tool, that cryptocurrency is a tool to basically give away more of the potency or power of the United States. Meaning, do you remember Jack Nicholson in Mars Attacks? That they have the judicial system and the Congress, but they lost the presidency. And that ain't so bad. Remember that? Okay. So now, one more thing he's going to do is he's going to raise BRICS, right? He's going to raise BRICS. Nothing different from when Nixon supposedly opened up China, remember? And then it turns out to be like a gaping wound in the side of the United States that basically transferred everything to China. Even jobs, right? The opening of China by Nixon basically killed destroyed much of the country and the middle class in particular. White people suffered most actually. Well, blacks too, right? And everything in between. So BRICS, Taiwan, Ukraine, cryptocurrency, and nullifying the constitution. That was going to happen if in January 6th they were able to reverse the election results, right, in the Senate and in the House, or remember the minions, McConnell's, and so on. And that's it. Believe me, your election process will have become meaningless, and this guy will never leave the office. And then, slowly but surely, he will choke the living daylight out of the United States or the American people, for that matter. Now, but that's not just him. You see, there is his minions, Nikki Haley, and there's the others too. First of all, Smith, right? The prosecutor, and Mueller was, of course, Smith and Garland and all those guys, that machine. They are not prosecuting the man. They are his legal guardians. Does that make sense? They are his legal guardians. Notice, two prosecutors, and not just that. Jack Smith was so afraid that this is really becoming reality, that Putin is going to lose the elections in the United States. So he went to the Supreme Court. He needed help. He was calling on them to help him in preserving the Trump chances of going back into the office. Uh, don't buy all that bullshit that crowing and blacking on TV and singing, and crowing, and don't buy that. That's what's happening. By now, what with all that we know about Trump, by now the man should have been even in jail, right? Because he so violated the law and the Constitution and so on and so forth. The guy is guilty as he stands. So that's that. Now, if any one of those Republicans win, what do you think is going to happen? They're basically the Christie and the whoever it is, the DeSantis and right? They're basically manning the positions of the castle. That's all. They are there for him. They are there to preserve the Republican movement into an election, right? And then if any one of them, including Haley, if any one of them wins the election, if one of them wins the election, what do you think they're going to do? I'm going to give you an example. Do you remember when Putin had to leave office due to some constitutional things? Like a clause preventing the president from being so and so. He brought his brother Medvedev, right? And he and Medvedev, as they say in the aviation, military aviation, they swap ends, right? So they swap ends. Medvedev becomes the president, and Putin becomes the no, not the vice president. More like the Duma. Duma, yeah, Duma. Leader or something, and then they swap ends again, right? If any one of those Republicans come into office or the White House, that's what they will do. First thing they may do is any one of them will appoint Trump as a vice president, or work out things for him so the next 4 years, he will have a chance again, right? When Biden leaves office and so on. Folks, you have no idea. These guys won't give up. Oh, no. You don't know them. You don't know them. So long they're there. Those lizard eye cabals of Moscow, those serpents of Tehran, those of Syria, of the Netanyahu, and so long they're there. So long they're there. You will have to fight them. You can never shake their hand. You can never work out a peace deal with them. You can never be their neighbor. You will always have to look out, and better still, you have to fight them. That's that. That's why Europeans are making a mistake in Ukraine, right? They're making a mistake in Ukraine, procrastinating and prolonging the war, and that's very dangerous. As a matter of fact, in fact, if you look now, there's no reversal of that Ukraine war. Had they, from the get-go, the Europeans and the Americans and the Canadians and whoever is on, whoever is against communism and Nazism, those morbid sister movements that spring from the same root, right? If they had defeated Russia, well, Russia, as we know, is no longer going to invade Europe, right? But if they had defeated Russia early on, they would have guaranteed a better future, right? But now, this wound has festered too long, and everybody dug in their positions, in their grounds and so on. Folks, there could only be one solution, or two, for the Crimea, for the Ukrainian conflict. Either Russia is defeated and that regime is fought until it's removed, or you allow them to take over Europe, and guess what? Believe me, you Scandinavians, you Germanics, you will be sent to the gulags. Gulags will be run again, will be established again, and they are in Iran and Syria and here and there and so on. They are, and even in Russia, you don't hear about it, but it's there, right? And here on UATV, which is funded by the Ukrainian government, they quote Lavrov the other day, being the clown of Putin, of course. I said this before, I sang this song to you. He mentioned the Anglo-Saxon. You Germanics, you Scandinavians, You English, you Scottish. What do you think is coming your way? And your leaders are just looking the other way and hoping that Putin makes it to their land as soon as possible. Why? Because your leaders, they're traitors, right? They're not part of you. So you really want to guarantee a better future for your posterity and your new later generations and your society and so on. You better get up and fight now. That thing cannot make it to your country, because if they do, it's over, right? It's over for you. Whatever few thousands of years your nations has been around, for a few thousand years, or how, no matter how long, with all that it was, that's it. History is erased. So you see what I'm saying? So now I'm going to talk to Americans, and mainly the intelligence agencies and security and law enforcement agencies. For there has been the failure of Russia and Iran, right, in the Middle East and in Europe, is a colossal failure. You know, for the Ayatollahs and the Erdogans and the Netanyahus and the Putin and so on. It's a colossal failure, folks. They've been preparing for this war for 200 years. Testimony by Erdogan himself. He said, and I quote, they've been waiting to fight this war for 200 years. What do you say? And you know, China is in. Don't exclude the Chinese regime. Oh, no. Notice how they're now activating North Korea. Remember, see, now North Korea is activating just prior to the election, right? You know, they're trying to, similar to hyenas trying to harass, like, you know, they gang up on another animal. And now they're all trying to gang up on the US government, right? Why? Because so much pressure, you know, with thwart the clear thinking, right? So much pressure and harassment and so on would disable clear thinking from the American public and supposedly their leadership, like Joby, right? That said, they're activating North Korea. So these freaks have so much at stake in returning Trump or his Republicans into the White House. They have so much at stake, right? They will do whatever it takes. They will do whatever it takes to bring that guy back into the White House, including major terrorism, acts of terrorism. Why? Because if it happens now, God forbid, guess what? The numbers of Joby would plummet so fast, right? You can't even recover if a major terrorist act would happen now. Or maybe after, similar to when Bush was pushed into the White House, in spite of the nose of popular votes, which went to Al Gore. Well, not too long afterwards, September 11, guess what? Global war on Islam. Oops! I mean, terrorism started. And it's been going on ever since. Hundreds of thousands of Americans were wounded and killed, and millions abroad were killed for no reason whatsoever. Iraq had absolutely nothing to do with terrorism. And they warned the United States about that, as to why he went there and ignored those Lebanese and Saudis and Iranians and Putin as well, who were fond of terrorism, who were the originators and the precursors of terrorism all over the world, not just in the United States or Europe. And they were ignored. Look what. I remember when those Syrian rebels entered Lebanon to take revenge from that Hezbollah, United States sent a force in the Bekaa Valley to protect them, to stand against those people so that they can protect Hezbollah. What did Hezbollah do? Killed your Marines, hijacked your TWA, and were part of that Lockerbie airplane, and killed Colonel Higgins and took hostages. Remember Terry Waite? And guess what? Ronald Reagan was working with them, right? Do you remember that? Do you remember that? Oh, man. People, what's coming your way by way of those Republicans? Oh, you have no idea. You have no idea. You better get up and fight. And if any one of those Republicans comes into the White House, oh, they will bring Trump. Their main job is to really bring him in and deliver him. Maybe Christie, maybe DeSantis, maybe Haley, maybe whoever it is. They go into the White House, or supposedly win the election. They will appoint him as a vice president and then resign from the first day, similar to, say, Johnson, right? Johnson. Remember Johnson? When he resigned? Or did he resign? No, that's Nixon. When he resigned, why did Nixon resign? Watergate? That's Watergate. Fuck Watergate, man. It's nothing. He resigned Because when a leader gives up the entire, if so take that as an analogy in a battlefield, if a leader is a traitor, the entire army, no matter how strong it is, no matter how superior it is, no matter how motivated it is, no matter how, doesn't matter, right? The fundamentals are broken right there, and then the army loses the battle. If the leader is a traitor and he surrenders, right? That's what Nixon did back then. Nothing more, nothing less. They can play on you this deep throat or whatever it is, all they want. He and Kissinger were no more than brothers, comrades of arms, born of the same woman, and what they're doing, they deliver the United States. You can't afford, folks, Americans, you can't afford for those people to go back into the White House. I mean Republicans like Haley, like Christie, like whoever it is, right, folks? Those guys just can't go into the White House. I myself, I'm a, for all I care what happens to me, right? But you will wake up next day and you will begin to realize the problem, right? The size of the problem. It will have been the awakening of Iranian people after they expelled the Shah and then brought Ayatollah Khomeini in with massive demonstrations. They were indoctrinated, like subconsciously, subliminal commands and so on, and they went up against the Shah. The Shah wasn't a good guy, no, I can't say that. But lo and behold, a year later, they began to realize the horror they brought upon themselves. And they know they can't get out of it. Have a nice day, my friends. And if there is a time for you to fight back, this is it. And law enforcement agencies, like I said, there's so much at stake for those facts. Not just terrorist acts. They will do anything. Guard your borders, your skies, and. Oh, man. Oh, man. And when time comes, don't allow those facts of Trump to go into Washington and check. If you're an American, no matter who you are, and you know the danger of it, you go to Washington too. Don't allow them to go into those offices of governments and invade it like they did last time. Have a nice day. And guess what? If there's a time for you to be active and activate your immune system as a nation, this is it. This is it. Have a nice day. Or if you wake up like a year later after those guys take over the White House, you will be hearing or watching TVs like those of Stalin. And if you were a Soviet citizen, you will be watching TV of similar to that of Stalin and Lenin and Khrushchev, and so on. Have a nice day, my friends. By Allah, by Allah. I see horror coming on the horizon, looming, a dark cloud looming on the horizon, crawling slowly but surely in. And Ukraine pulled a miracle, by Allah. Ukraine pulled a miracle. They are defending the world from that hell. Those Ukrainians, soldiers, you owe them. Everybody owes them. Especially you Germanics and Scandinavians and Baltics too, right? Those facts are talking Anglo-Saxon. And go look at that UATV clip about Lavrov being a clown of Putin. He said that Anglo-Saxons, right? And if you remember Dugin in one of his seminars, like I think Blinken was attending that round table talk, he talked about Eurasia. Those whites are no longer favorable. That Dugin, who said his daughter got killed and she's still alive, right? Now, NOW, not tomorrow. You were supposed to help Ukraine back then, and you Americans supposed to stand up now. Get ready. There is a fight looming on the horizon. Now you may say, God forbid, right? And it's not going to happen, right? That those Republicans get back in the White House, and next day nothing happens. Oh, no, you don't understand. When the key comes into the pocket, right? They slow down, but slowly but surely, the victim is devoured. Like a python swallowing something, like a pig or any other animal. Big, right? Slowly but surely. But once it goes in, and that's that. Have a nice day, my friends, and get up and fight. Get ready.